The Kirby games are known for being some of the cutest and most fun games that Nintendo has to offer, and everyone seems to love them just as much as their other exclusive titles. Even so, there are some Kirby games that unfortunately aren't as well known as others, one of those underrated gems being Kirby Mass Attack. Hey, it's Nana Plays Games, aka MPG. Kirby Mass Attack, or Ultimate Kirby, received a lot of praise upon its release, but was strangely forgotten about even by fans of Kirby. I barely hear anyone talk about it anymore, even though it's one of the more unique and innovative games in the Kirby series. I played this game as a kid and I love it. I even still have the cartridge. Kirby Mass Attack was my first Kirby game, and though it was very different from the others, it's the title that got me into Kirby and I'll love it forever for being such a great experience. It's a bit of a hidden gem, and it deserves a lot more credit for what it achieved. It's fun, one of a kind, and you won't find any other game like it. So let's talk about why I think Kirby Mass Attack is a masterpiece. Let's start off with a little bit of background for Kirby Mass Attack. Kirby Mass Attack is a platforming game released on August 4th, 2011, or if you live in North America, September 19th. The game was developed by HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo DS. It was directed by Mari Shirakawa, produced by Masanobu Yamamoto, Yoichi Yamamoto, and Yasushi Adachi, designed by Yoshihisa Maeda, programmed by Hiroyuki Hayashi, and finally composed by Shogo Sakai. At the time of its release, the game received quite good reception. It was adored by reviewers, as they claimed that the game was, quote, cleverly designed, overwhelmingly cute, and devoted to fun, unquote. It was said to even be a brilliant game, receiving review scores of 8 and above. Due to the game being released on the DS, it took advantage of the console's touchscreen mechanics and was the fourth and last Kirby game released on the DS. Now, speaking of the actual contents of the game, Mass Attack's story involves Kirby traveling to Popopo Islands and falling asleep in a field. Shortly after this, Necrodeus, the game's antagonist, strikes Kirby with his magic staff, just because. And this puts Kirby into 10 tiny individual versions of himself, each only having a fraction of his original power. After 9 of them are easily defeated, the last Kirby notices a star that represents his own heart and goes on an adventure to defeat Necrodeus. The story is simple, easy to understand, but also really charming and unique. It also sets up a promising, never-seen-before premise for the game and dictates how to play. Mass Attack is kind of an older Kirby game, and not many people talk about it, so people might think that the new things it tried fell flat. But hey, it's not just nostalgia that carries this game for me. It has so much more to offer, and I think it's about time I explain how and why. Maybe calling Mass Attack a masterpiece is a bit of a stretch, but hear me out. The ideas implemented in this game are fun, and I honestly haven't heard of a game doing anything like it. Since it's on the DS, it takes good advantage of the touchscreen mechanic, and it's one of those games where you don't touch the buttons or D-pad at all. The gameplay style of Mass Attack is super unique for a Kirby game and involves the player needing to tap the screen in order to command all 10 Kirbys across a level. You can swipe to send them forward and back, tap and hold to gather them all up and slowly move them to where you want, and by rapidly touching the screen in one direction, you can send them all running. When a Kirby touches an enemy, they'll immediately start pummeling them, and the bigger the enemy, the more Kirbys you need to take them down. If you don't have enough, you'll be knocked off, but after another attempt or two, the enemy should go down. When a Kirby is injured, they'll turn blue, and if they're hit after this, they'll turn gray and float up. You can attempt to grab them back, but if any Kirby gets crushed or falls into a pit, it's an instant death. All 10 Kirbys dying results in a game over, so being careful is key, but you probably won't die very often. The mechanics of the game are simple enough for a child to understand and get through, but still fun and a half-decent challenge for adults. A lot of games for kids are often too easy, and the lack of challenge can make it a bit boring to play, but I never once felt that way with Mass Attack. The game mechanics are so... I know I've used this word like a million times before this, but I can't stress how unique this game is. I haven't seen any other game, not even other Kirby games like it before. Maybe that's the appeal. I get super attached to games as playstyle is so particular and niche that I get disappointed when I fail to find anything else like it. This was also one of the first games I played that had an objective relating to quote-unquote getting the true ending. In order to fight Necrodeus, you have to find every rainbow medal in every stage, though you can skip it on the regular ones. I enjoy games that give the player an objective to stick by, and it makes exploring the levels that much more fun, especially considering the kind of gimmicks you'll see. Mass Attack somehow makes the cliche grass, sand, beach, tundra worlds look as unique as they could, and like I've said before, I don't mind cliches as long as they're attempting to do something differently. The gimmicks and level objectives definitely help out with that. Oh, while back on the topic of gimmicks, there are so many of them for every level and they're a ton of fun. Usually, I don't like gimmicks that slow down gameplay too much, but the ones present in the game are just too charming. You'd be expecting each level to look or play the same, but there's more than meets the eye with Mass Attack. Some gimmicks are fun but easy snooze fests, others are intense, some are a bit puzzly, so there's a lot to work with here. Like I said, it's a pretty unusual Kirby title. There's also ranks for levels in the form of stars, and the better you do, the better rank you get. For example, if you take no damage, you get a gold star. That kind of thing makes replaying levels that much more interesting since you have something to look forward to if you're a perfectionist. Moving on, the bosses might not be too hard, but you're not just sitting there the whole time. Taking on bosses requires teamwork and using every last Kirby to your advantage. The game becomes a little harder if you don't have all of them, so keeping them safe is essential, especially in boss fights. I also really like that the bosses really take advantage of the kind of environment they're in, like the Skullard for example. I don't know, I'm really loving his design and how the game makes you play against him. In fact, I can't name a single boss that was a stinker. All of them were pretty fun, and though easy, required at least some thought to beat them. Even though the main game is great and more than enough to satisfy you, the game has extra content. If you're getting tired of the story mode, you can always unlock the mini-games and play those. There are so many mini-games, and every single one of them are awesome. It totally reminds me of the mini-games found in New Super Mario Bros. DS, and even after not having played them in years, I got addicted again almost instantly. They may not be that creative, but a little something extra doesn't hurt. I like that when you buy a game, it throws you some freebies in the form of unlockable content that you don't have to pay for. If only that was the case today. Like, I'd kill to have these as mobile games so I could play them in bed. Now onto some of the more superficial and or personal opinions I have of Mass Attack. The game is absolutely adorable. Not a surprise since Kirby is hands down the cutest Nintendo series, but still is super cute nonetheless. Even the enemies make me want to pick them up and hold them. The many backgrounds for this game are bright, vibrant, and so happy. Even for the darker, creepier stages, which I love, they're still bright and easily visible. Again, games in any media really shouldn't shy away from using brighter colors. The music also makes me want to cry like a baby. It's so memorable and nostalgic, starting the game and hearing the title music play was invigorating. Kirby Mass Attack is not only fun and distinctive, but it's also insanely cute and endears itself to anyone who plays it. Might not be for everyone, but I feel the same way about this game in 2025 as I did in 2011. That's how special it is to me, and why I think it's a masterpiece of a game. Kirby Mass Attack may not get talked about too much in the big 2025, but it deserves some credit for the things it did. It really is an innovative work of art, even if it's one of the more underrated titles in the series. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. By the way, if you weren't aware, I'm doing a Q&A video for my birthday on the 19th. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments, just be sure to be respectful and have fun. Make sure to like and subscribe. This is MPG, I'll see you around. Peace!